You feel mentally drained by 2 p.m., even after a full night's rest and strong coffee. What if you could turn those empty gaps between lectures into your secret weapon for straight A's? In this video, I'll share 5 neuroscience-backed micro-habits that top students use to transform wasted time into peak cognitive performance. I discovered this strategy when I watched my roommate ace exams while studying half as much as I did. He wasn't smarter. He just mastered the in-between moments. The problem is, most students treat breaks as downtime to scroll social media, which actually increases cognitive load and destroys focus. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to reclaim 15 minutes between classes to boost retention and reduce burnout. Let's dive in. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most people think resting means checking their phone, but science says otherwise. This concept is called non-sleep deep rest, or NSDR. It's not about sleeping. It's about shutting off sensory input to let your brain process what you just learned. Research from Stanford University found that brief periods of sensory deprivation significantly improve memory consolidation. This works because your hippocampus, the brain's save button, needs quiet moments to transfer short-term memories into long-term storage. When you scroll through TikTok, you're flooding your brain with new data, preventing that save process from completing. Here is how to apply it. First, find a quiet corner or put on noise-canceling headphones. Second, close your eyes for exactly 10 minutes. No music, no podcasts, just silence. Third, focus on your breathing. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to your breath. For instance, instead of rushing to the cafeteria to chat, sit on a bench alone for 10 minutes. Avoid common mistakes like setting a loud alarm that startles you. Use a gentle vibration. But wait, there's more to this. You might think 10 minutes is too short to matter, but the neurological shift happens almost instantly. This next one is crucial for retaining complex information. It's called the Feynman Flash Review. Most students review notes passively, rereading highlights. This is inefficient. The Feynman technique forces active recall by simplifying concepts. In a 15-minute window, you don't have time for deep study, but you do have time for synthesis. Cognitive psychology tells us that active retrieval strengthens neural pathways far more than passive recognition. By explaining a concept simply, you identify gaps in your understanding immediately. Top students use this because it converts fragile knowledge into robust understanding before it fades. Here is your action plan. First, take out a single index card or a notes app. Second, pick one key concept from the class you just left. Third, write down an explanation as if you were teaching it to a 5-year-old. Use simple language. Fourth, identify where you got stuck. That gap is what you need to review later. For example, instead of rereading a page on photosynthesis, write, "Plants eat sunlight to make sugar." If you can't simplify it, you don't understand it yet. Don't try to summarize the whole lecture, just one big idea. I'll explain exactly how to integrate this with your next class in Step 4, so keep watching. Most people don't know this, but your body dictates your brain's performance. If you've been sitting for 90 minutes, your blood flow has slowed, and your oxygen intake is reduced. This isn't just about feeling stiff, it's about neurochemistry. Movement triggers the release of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, which acts like fertilizer for your brain cells. A study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine showed that just 2 minutes of moderate activity improves attention spans for up to an hour. You need to change your physiology to change your psychology. Here is how to do it. First, stand up immediately when class ends. Second, engage in 3 minutes of elevated heart rate activity. This could be brisk walking upstairs, jumping jacks in a hallway, or a quick stretch routine. Third, spend the remaining 2 minutes doing dynamic stretching to open up your chest and hips. Avoid staying seated to pack your bag slowly. Move with purpose. For instance, instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs. If you're in a large lecture hall, walk to the back exit to add distance. The goal is to get blood pumping to the prefrontal cortex. But that's not all. This physical reset also signals to your brain that the previous task is complete, creating a mental boundary. Now, let's talk about something even more powerful. This is the secret weapon of valedictorians: the contextual bridge. Most students treat classes as isolated silos. Math is math. History is history. But high-performance learning is about connection. The brain learns best through association. By bridging the gap between what you just learned and what you're about to learn, you prime your neural networks. This works because of priming. When you preview upcoming material, your brain creates hooks for new information to hang on to. It reduces the cognitive load of the next lecture because you're not encountering cold concepts. You're meeting familiar friends. Here is the method. First, spend 2 minutes reviewing the syllabus or title of the next class. Second, ask yourself, how does this relate to what I just learned? Even if the subjects are different, look for structural similarities. Third, write down 2 questions you hope the next professor answers. For example, if you just finished economics and are heading to psychology, ask, how does human behavior influence market trends? Write that question down. Now, when the psych professor mentions decision-making, your brain will light up because you're actively listening for the answer. Thousands of students have used this method to turn disjointed schedules into a cohesive web of knowledge. There's a scientific reason for this, and it's fascinating. Your attention span is a finite resource, often described as a battery. Every notification you check drains that battery. Research shows that it takes an average of 23 minutes to fully refocus after a distraction. If you check Instagram during your 15-minute break, you are not resting. You are fragmenting your attention. You enter the next class with attention residue, meaning part of your brain is still processing that last tweet. Top students protect their focus aggressively. They understand that boredom is productive. Boredom allows the default mode network in your brain to activate, which is essential for creativity and problem solving. Here is your protocol. First, put your phone on Do Not Disturb or leave it in your bag. Second, if you must use a device, use it only for academic purposes, like checking the next class's slide deck. Third, engage in analog activities. Sketch, doodle, or just people watch. For instance, instead of replying to texts, carry a small notebook. Doodle concepts from the last class. This keeps your hands busy, but your mind free to wander productively. Avoid the trap of just one quick check. It's never just one. You've already watched this far, so let me share one final tip that ties this all together. Finally, we cannot ignore biology. Your brain is 75% water. Even mild dehydration, Just 2% loss of body water can impair cognitive function, memory, and mood. Most students run on caffeine and sugar, leading to crashes. The 15-minute break is the perfect time to stabilize your energy levels physically. This isn't about a full meal. It's about maintenance. Glucose is the brain's primary fuel source, but spikes and crashes are detrimental. You need steady release. Research indicates that combining hydration with a small amount of protein or healthy fat sustains focus better than carbs alone. Here is the routine. First, drink 16 ounces of water. Keep a reusable bottle with you always. Second, eat a small, brain-friendly snack. Think almonds, an apple, or a hard-boiled egg. Avoid sugary bars or chips. Third, avoid heavy caffeine after 2 p.m. to protect your sleep tonight. For example, keep a bag of walnuts in your backpack. Eat a handful during your walk to the next class. It's simple, but it prevents the 3 p.m. fog that ruins most study sessions. Don't underestimate the power of basic biology. You can't hack a dehydrated brain. Now, you might be thinking, can I really do all this in 15 minutes?